Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to my channel. This is Sophia, and today's pick a card reading is going to be for the month of July. So basically a monthly reading, a prediction for what is coming for you this July of 2019. So I just want to remind everybody that this is a general reading, which means it will not resonate with everybody out there. So if the pile that you picked does not end up resonating with you, please don't freak out. It happens. It just means that the message in there was for somebody else, and you can feel free to pick another pile, especially if you were in between two piles to begin with and decided to go with just one. Or you can of course click out of this video and find another one on YouTube. There are thousands of wonderful talented tarot readers out there who do very similar pick a card readings, and right now there are a lot of July prediction videos out there, so it will not be hard to find one. So yeah, so I'm gonna name our piles. As you can see, a couple of things. I decided to put the boxes of the decks that I'm using. I am also using the Rider-Waite Tarot, but I don't have the box anymore because it kind of broke on me. So that I don't have, but the Rider-Waite, I am using 5 Rider-Waite cards per pile. But then we have the Illuminated Tarot, the Good Tarot by Colette Baron Reid. We have the Wisdom Oracle deck, also by Colette Baron Reid, and then we have the Vintage Wisdom Oracle deck, which I haven't used yet, so I'm very excited to use that deck with you guys today in this video. And then here, as you can see on top of our piles, I actually did not put anything on top of the piles today. And that's partially because I want to challenge all of my viewers to really practice trusting their intuition. So I know that in my videos so far I put stuff on top, and I'm sure that a lot of people have used that to help them pick, but I really want people to really try and channel in here and really just go with your gut. I feel like not putting anything on the piles is actually provides you with a more accurate reading, because you really do have to just go with pure instinct, and you're not letting your eyes choose, even though you're telling yourself you're not letting your eyes choose, but sometimes that just, you can't help yourself when stuff is on top. So if you're having trouble, I suggest taking a really big deep breath and really just closing your eyes, centering yourself. Take a minute to just be silent, and then when you open your eyes, just go with the pile that your eyes immediately go to. It can be any one of them. Again, if you're stuck in between two, you can pick both. Don't feel pressured to have to pick one, but of course some people do end up just deciding to pick one over the other. And like I said, if that pile ends up not resonating, then they just go with the second one. But of course, if you're really feeling torn between two and you really can't decide, then you can of course pick both and see what the messages are and take what resonates, okay? So here are our piles. So we have pile number 1, pile number 2, and pile number 3. So take your time to pick a pile. Again, you can pause the video here. Again, take a deep breath, center yourself, don't overthink it, okay? Just go with your gut instinct, and I will see you guys at your pile, okay? Alright, if you guys picked pile number 1, this message is for you. Let's see what July has in store for you guys, okay? I'm going to try and get everything in frame off the bat. Nice, very nice. Okay, so I know everything is a bit all over the place right now, and you can't really see all of the cards, so I'm going to try and push everything up. And sorry, there is a little bit of a glare with these cards, so I apologize in advance. Okay, let's see what we have here. Okay. Oh, this is interesting. Okay. what I'm finding interesting here, I'm gonna go kind of in order of the type of deck that I'm seeing, because I'm using 5 decks, I believe, but I'm only using 1 card from 3 of the decks, and then the other 2 I'm using more of them. So I'm using 3 from the Illuminated Tarot, and then I'm using 5 from my Rider-Waite. If you guys don't already know, my Rider-Waite is my ride or die tarot deck that I use. I plan to use it in every video that I do, because it is the deck that I use to learn tarot, so it has a special place in my heart. But anyway, I am getting off topic. So what I'm seeing here, something that is immediately jumping out at me is, I feel like in the recent past, you guys have been waiting for something. I feel like you guys have been definitely waiting. I have 3 cards, like these 3 center cards right here are saying it all for me. The fact that they're all like next to each other as well, excuse me, is saying a lot. So we have the Hanged Man, which, I mean, is obvious, is about waiting, is about feeling kind of left out to dry, being in a state of limbo. We have the Two of Wands here. Now the Two of Wands is a kind of different energy of waiting. It's more about like feeling a bit stuck about making some kind of important decision. So I feel like you guys have kind of put yourselves in this situation. I feel like you guys have some kind of decision to make, an important decision, or you feel like you're going to have some important decision to make leading into July. I feel like you guys haven't really made the steps yet in order to kind of figure out what it is that you guys want. And then we have the Nine of Wands here. The Nine of Wands for me, when I'm more of an intuitive tarot reader. I do go by the book definitions, but I don't know all of the cards purely by heart. So some cards I do kind of instinctively just read when I do a reading, because it also depends on what cards they are surrounded by. And so it's interesting because we have the Nine of Wands here, and for me the Nine of Wands is also it's a card about waiting. It's a card about feeling a bit frustrated. You're kind of feel yourself nearing the end of some kind of cycle. So immediately I'm sensing that this is talking about kind of right now, this time period right now, like very end of June. I feel like that's what this card is talking about. I'm seeing this card as a timestamp for the end of June. So I feel like you guys are going into July with this sense of waiting, like the sense of wanting to make a decision about something but not being able to. And you're waiting, but I feel like there is a part of you that really does already know what you want. It's interesting here because we have the Page of Swords, and the Page of Swords talks about anytime we have a page, it talks about the bringer of some kind of news. But I feel like the Page of Swords is somebody who's has something very forthright to say. Something comes in with purpose. Like I feel like there's purpose with what he has to say. You can definitely see that in his stance. Like he's kind of almost like ready to fight you. Like he's ready to defend, even though he's just a page and he's only bringing news. I feel like whatever he has to bring to the table is kind of a big deal. So I feel like you are going to be in this position in July where you have I feel like you have some kind of big decision to make. Like I feel like you're going to be reaching this state of, you know what, like I know what I want. I definitely sense that you guys are going to be coming out of this Hanged Man, Two of Wands, Nine of Wands energy. I think it's still crazy that we have these all of these cards next to each other, and they're kind of close in meaning for me, at least when I read these cards. And I'm definitely getting that vibe of you guys are in this almost like a annoying position of just kind of waiting for something to happen. It could be anything. Like this is again very general. It could of course be about love, but I feel like it's more, yeah, it definitely could be about love, because we have the King of Cups here. And it's interesting because the King of Cups is looking towards this Hanged Man when I lined them up. So I feel like this King of Cups, like, I feel like this could be you guys. Like, I feel like you might be waiting for the opportune moment to speak your truth, to speak your feelings. Because the King of Cups is a character. He's somebody who's very passionate, somebody very in tune with their emotions, but they hold back because they're afraid. They hold back. They don't want to jump the gun. So I feel like that's what you're almost deciding to do. I definitely sense that you guys are holding back some of your emotions because you're not sure how they will be received. Like, I think you feel deep down in your heart, you know that they will be received well. Whatever these feelings are, but you're kind of waiting. You're nervous. Like, you're nervous. You're doubting yourself. You're, like, coming, like, again, like, I'm using the Nine of Wands as a timestamp. Like, towards like the end of this past month, you're just kind of like, you're like, oh, like, there's like this agitation. I'm getting like this agitation, like, sense. And it's interesting because that still goes with the Page of Swords as well. I feel like the Page of Swords is how you're, like, what you're internally feeling. Like, you just want to, like, come out and say it. Like, you just want to come out and just be like, yeah, like, I want to say all the things that I have to say. And I think what you have to say is very powerful. I feel like what you have to say is very bold. Like, I feel like you want to have, like, this bold, like, declaration of your feelings or emotions, whatever those are. Again, it doesn't have to be romantic. I mean, I'm getting the sense that for many of you it might be, but again, it doesn't have to be. But whatever feelings that you're feeling, they're very strong. They're very strong. They're very eloquent. Like, there's something eloquent about it, but you're waiting. Like, you're waiting for the right time, and I feel like it hasn't been the right time. And I also get the sense that, like, well, I definitely, I'm sensing that there's something, you're gonna reach a good conclusion in July. Like, I feel like that's all gonna be over, because it's interesting, because we have, here we have the King of Swords, the King of Spades in this deck, in the Illuminated Tarot. And so the King of Swords is actually the opposite of the King of Cups, which I think is interesting. The King of Swords, as I've explained in some of my other videos, for me, the swords as a suit is, it's the suit of communication. And so I feel like the King of Cups, although he has all of these feelings inside of him, even though he has all of these eloquent, beautiful, deep emotions to him, he doesn't always speak them outwardly. And I feel like the King of Swords is the exact opposite. The King of Swords is somebody who goes, says what he says, and that's it. And it's interesting because we have this Page of Swords here, and I feel like these two go hand in hand. So I feel like there's going to be some kind of evolution for you. I don't see these as two other people, as two separate people. The reason why I don't see them as, don't see this as, like, if you are thinking about somebody, and that's part of what you wanted to find out in this reading, I don't see the King of Swords as a different person from the King of Cups. I think this is one and the same person. Like, so I basically think that these represent you, but at different stages of the month. Because I feel like you're going into July with this King of Cups energy of kind of holding back. Again, you're waiting for the right opportune moment to say what you want to say. You're waiting, you're feeling a bit agitated because you have all of these things you want to say, and you have this Page of Swords in you, like, you have it. But I feel like you're going to evolve almost from, like, you're going to evolve from the King of Cups to the Page of Swords to the King of Swords as the month progresses, for sure. Sorry, my voice, like, kind of, like, lost itself there. Sorry. But yeah, like, you're gonna, like, there's gonna be, like, an evolution. And it's interesting because then we have the card right here of regeneration. And so I always use my Wisdom Oracle deck cards in readings as advice. And so I feel like this is both Spirit saying you need to allow yourself to regenerate and transform from this King of Cups to this King of Swords. Like, you need to allow yourself to transform, even if it's intimidating at first. Like there's something you're holding back too much is definitely what I'm sensing. Like you're holding back too much. There's something that's just there's something that's holding you back. There's something that you fear that's holding you back from saying what you want to say. And I think Spirit is saying in July you're going to have the opportunity to regenerate yourself, to change your mindset on this situation, on your feelings, on how you want to handle all of the emotions that you've been bottling up inside, all these eloquent, beautiful emotions. And it's interesting because then we have this card of trust from the Vintage Wisdom Oracle. And so I feel like this is also Spirit saying, trust yourself, like trust these emotions, trust that everything will be okay, trust that you know what's right for you, and trust that you can regenerate. I feel like there's a part of you that is just afraid to take this leap. I feel like this is definitely, you're afraid to get out of this hangman. You're definitely hesitant. There's this hesitation. I'm just getting this really deep sense of hesitation. And this conflict, this internal conflict of like, what is it? Do I really want this? Like, is this really what I want? Is this really deep down what I'm feeling? I feel like there's a sense of denial. I feel like that's what the Two of Wands is talking about as well. Like there's this sense of denial here about whatever emotions you're feeling. And I feel like it makes sense that, denial might be the right word, because if I can find the card. Again, like I said, the King of Cups is somebody who holds back what he's feeling. He's too afraid to put them all out there because he doesn't want to jump the gun. So I feel like you guys are almost downplaying what it is that you're feeling. You're downplaying what it is that you're feeling. And you're almost like not treating it as a joke. It's not that severe, but I feel like you guys are like, no, like, it's not possible, like, I can't be saying these kinds of things, I shouldn't be thinking these kinds of things, I shouldn't be, like, thinking or feeling these things about this situation or this person, but Spirit is saying, no, like, this is what, you need to trust yourself, like, this is all about trusting yourself, and allowing yourself to evolve. I feel like Spirit is saying, you're going through this, in July, you're going to be going through this, very intense, evolving transformation, this regeneration, as this card shows, and it's really a beautiful card. A definite regeneration, this rebirth almost, if we wanted to, get very spiritual here, but like there's some kind of rebirth into something amazing. And the reason I know that it's amazing is because I just realized this while I was speaking earlier. I just wanted to wait. We have the Four of Air and we have the Four of Wands. These are the same card. And the Four of Wands is all about happiness, celebration, new beginnings, just happiness. In the Rider-Waite, it's a wedding. There's a wedding. So there's celebration, there's happiness. And so I feel like you in July, for my pile one people in July, you guys are going to go through this beautiful transformation if you let yourself. Emphasis on the fact that if you let yourself, you will be able to go through this beautiful emotional transformation, because you're going to evolve from this King of Cups energy paired with this Hanged Man. Oh my god, I'm all over the place. But yeah, so you're gonna go from this King of Cups Hanged Man energy of just feeling very sucked into yourself, like alone with your feelings, hiding your feelings. You're gonna go from that to the King of Cups and regeneration, and that brings all this goodness, all of this happiness, this contentness. There's definitely going to be contentness. You're going to get out of this hangman energy by the end of the month, for sure, without a doubt. I mean, the fact that the Four of Wands came up twice, both from the Good Tarot and from the Illuminated Tarot, says a lot. And so I definitely see that coming out of this season, coming out of July, leading into August, you guys will reach a sense of harmony, a sense of happiness, because you will have evolved. You will have made a decision. You will have realized what it is that your feelings that you're having are okay to voice, that you can trust yourself. And I don't think I touched on this Nine of Cups, but this again makes me feel like this is about a person, feelings about a certain person. Again, doesn't have to be romantic, but I feel like for a good amount of you it will be. But this person or this relationship, this situation is something that gives you a lot of love and joy and makes you feel complete. The Nine of Cups for me is the You Complete Me card, and I feel like that is what it is that you're feeling deep down that you're afraid to almost admit to yourself. Like there's you're okay feeling complete. Like this, whatever it is that you're thinking about makes you feel whole. And there's something about it that almost makes you, I want to say, like there's something that scares you about that, because we have this hangman, we have this Nine of Wands, which really, I think, talks about, again, the hesitation. There's this hesitation about this Nine of Cups energy that you're feeling, and I feel like it's such an intense feeling. The Nine of Cups for me is one of the most intense cards of the tarot, but I feel like it's that intenseness that you feel with this person or in this relationship or this situation. It's so intense that it intimidates you and it makes you retreat. And it makes you censor your feelings. And I just feel like that is not going to fly. I feel like in July, there's a lot of different stuff happening with the planets in July. And it's just not going to make that possible. And Spirit is saying you're going to transform. Something's going to make you transform, regenerate how you feel about this whole situation, whether you like it or not. And it's going to be beautiful. Like, I'm actually very excited for you, Pile 1. I think, you're probably looking at this like, this is, like, very deep, and I have no idea if that's actually going to happen because it doesn't feel like that right now, but I'm definitely getting that for you guys, okay? Allow yourselves to feel. Don't be ashamed of what you're feeling, okay? Let it flow. Let it transform you, and you will be happier for it. Trust me, you are going to be happier for it. For sure. You're going to be happier if you just let these emotions flow. Accept them for what they are. Don't censor yourself anymore. Just let it go. Okay? Just let it all out there. All right? So thank you so much for my Pile 1 friends who picked this pile for my pick a card reading. I hope that resonated with you. Please leave a comment down below if it did, and I really hope to see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much. Alright, to all my friends out there who picked pile number 2 for this July prediction pick a card reading, this message is for you. So let's see what you guys got, okay? I'm going to try my best to get all the cards in frame, but in the last pile, everything was a bit all over the place, so I apologize. There's going to be a lot of, like, moving around of things. Interesting. Oh yeah, you guys had to, I usually just do one from the Good Tarot, but 2 wanted to come out for you guys, so I'm going to just go with that. And I apologize if there is a little bit of a glare. The lights, the overhead lights, with the type of material that some of the cards are made out of, it makes this really annoying glare. So I apologize for that in advance. Interesting. And again, like, I'm gonna have to overlap for the time being. Oh, interesting. Ooh, wow. Oh, okay. So, all right. So immediately, because I know some of you who watch tarot, even if you don't watch tarot typically, you're going to see this card out of all the other ones and be like, that looks horrendous. Like, oh my God, my July is going to be horrible. Oh no, oh no. It's okay. You know why it's okay? Because we have the Sun card here, and the Sun card, as I've explained in some of my other readings, but if you haven't seen any other one of my videos or you don't usually watch tarot, the Sun card is probably the best card you could ever get in a reading because it negates any quote-unquote negative card in another reading. In another reading. What am I talking about? In a reading. So congratulations. Any challenges that you are now facing are probably going to come to an end in July, which is what I'm going to kind of say off the bat right now. Or any obstacles that come in July are only going to be temporary. So probably by the end of the month, if stuff happens in the middle of the month, they will be resolved rather quickly. There's just going to be like little tiffs here and there in July, but again, that's just life in general. There's ups and downs, but the sun is saying whatever this reading has in store for you, any obstacle that you are set to face is only temporary and not to worry, okay? Everything will end up working out in your favor. So I'm getting a lot. I'm getting a lot of different things. Yeah, I'm getting a lot. I'm getting a lot of heartbreak right now from, from a lot of different cards. And I'm sensing that this was definitely in the recent past and it's still going on. And leading into July, you're probably going to still be feeling this, some of the energies that I'm about to explain right now. So I'm going to pull the cards that have all of that energy. It's interesting. We have a bunch of several cards in this spread. So we have the Five of Cups. We have the Tower, of course. We have the Ten of Wands. We have the Five of Earth. We have the Three of Swords. And then we have this interesting card, which I usually use as what am I talking about? I'm losing my words. As a advice card. Chaos and Conflict, and I'm gonna explain what I think this means after I get through everything else, but I'm just gonna leave that here. I'm also gonna include the Eight of Wands in this story. So the energies are all very similar here. It's interesting because I feel like all of the illuminated tarot cards are kind of helping explain this story. I feel like recently you guys have been through a lot. You guys have been through a lot of heartbreak. We have the Three of Swords. I feel like you guys have been, felt like you've been left out in the cold. We have the Five of Earth here, which is the Five of Pentacles in the regular tarot. This is the good tarot, so Colette Baron Reid uses the elements instead of the Pentacles, Cups, Wands, and Swords. So Earth is Pentacles, so that's that. So the Five of Pentacles is a card that talks about being left out in the cold. Maybe you guys have, I definitely think this is more of a romantic reading for the people who pick this. I feel like July is going to be a lot about recovery, for sure. I feel like July as a month, like as a whole, July is going to be a lot about bringing yourself out of heartbreak, bringing yourself out of feeling sad, lonely. Again, we have the Three of Swords here that's telling me about heartbreak of some sort. We have the Five of Pentacles that talks about feeling like left out in the cold, feeling abandoned, feeling left alone, feeling lonely, those kinds of things. We have the Ten of Wands, which I think is interesting. The Ten of Wands talks about feeling overwhelmed, having too much on your plate. I feel like this is definitely talking about your feelings. I feel like you're going into July, you're juggling a lot. I feel like you're probably also currently trying to keep yourself as occupied as possible in order to ignore this Three of Swords energy. Like sometimes when people go through breakups or fall out with people that they love, they tend to try and fill their schedule up with all of these different things to do, and I feel like that's what you're doing, but it's having the counter effect of what it should. It's making you feel more overwhelmed. It's causing you to feel more because you have so much on your plate. You have so much to juggle because you're juggling these feelings deep. You're trying to ignore that you have these feelings, while at the same time you're feeling overwhelmed by work and all the other things that you've kept yourself busy with. So I feel like going into July, there's a lot of chaos and conflict, which I think is interesting that Spirit is acknowledging that in the advice. So I feel like Spirit is almost saying, like, leading into July, it's still going to feel like that. I feel like July still might feel chaotic, and filled with conflict. I don't necessarily think that it's going to be with the person that you had an issue with. I don't think there's going to be any more confrontations. I don't get that sense. I get more, this is all very internal. This is all a very internal journey for you guys. This is all about healing, like I said before. July is going to be a month of healing for you. It's going to be a time to really reassess, reevaluate, begin again, for sure. Begin again. We have the Fool card here. I wasn't going to pull this, but we have the Fool card here. The Fool card is all about taking leaps of faith. So I feel like I'm getting the sense is going to be more towards the end of the month, because I do sense that there's so much heaviness here in these cards. And I don't mean to say that in a bad way. I just, I've never seen so many cards that talk about these feelings of heartbreak, these feelings of feeling overwhelmed, and just a lot. There's this Five of Cups here. This Five of Cups talks about you focusing on this. There's this focus on what's lost. I really like the imagery of this card. You see this woman, she's staring down at these 3 cups, but she doesn't realize that there are 2 cups still standing. So this talks about, I don't want to say being unappreciative. When we're heartbroken, everything else doesn't matter. Just like how it is when people fall in love, the only thing that matters is that person. It's the same way when things with that person don't work out. There's this sense of everything is lost, nothing else matters, that was it, that was the person, that she or he was the one for me, everything else in life doesn't matter anymore. And so I feel like you guys are in this state going into July, and it might last a little bit, going in the first week and a half of July, is you're feeling that heaviness. I definitely sense this heaviness. I feel this heaviness again with the 10 of Wands as well. I feel like there's also a lot of self-blame, a lot of blaming yourself for what happened. I feel like this also causes you to isolate. We have even though you probably maybe felt left out in the cold by this person, now that things didn't work out, you're probably thinking, oh, well, now I'm if things can't work out with that person, then I'm just going to isolate myself. So Five of Pentacles, or Earth, to me, also talks about isolation, feeling isolated, feeling cold, feeling like you don't want to be around others, and not acknowledging the other good things that you have. Again, Three of Swords, self-explanatory. And then we have the Tower card, so I definitely sense that this was sudden. This may have been a sudden change, a sudden chain of a sudden change in your lifestyle. It could have been something that you weren't expecting, and I feel like that is why it has been so painful for you. And maybe also why you feel left down the cold, because you may have not been expecting it. You may have not been expecting this change. You may not have been expecting this relationship to go the way that it has. You probably had a lot of hope for this relationship. So now with this Five of Cups, it makes a lot more sense, because now you're kind of focused and fixated on, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong to make this relationship go badly? What is it? What did I do? What part do I have in this catastrophe, in this chaos, in this conflict? And I feel like in doing that to yourself, you are kind of you're manifesting chaos and conflict into your other areas of your life. And so I feel like that's also what Spirit is commenting on, is that there's a lot of chaos and conflict being manifested unknowingly by you because of how much you're focusing on spilt milk. Now, of course, is it normal to feel that way after losing something important to you? Of course it is. It's just important not to try and get into this Five of Cup energy where you're fixated on what it is that you've lost, because then you overwhelm yourself with all of these other feelings of chaos. You allow yourself to focus on this Tower moment, which is just one single moment of sudden change, and suddenly it becomes everything. And it makes you feel this way. It makes you feel left out in the cold. Like the tower situation, I think already was so sudden that you feel abandoned. But I think you make yourself feel even more abandoned by isolating and shutting yourself off from the world. And there's heartbreak here. There's definite heartbreak. I'm not denying it. And it's, I've never seen so many cards indicating to me that whoever picked pile number 2 is going through something heavy, like has heaviness in their heart, and I feel that, and I know what that feels like. I know what it feels like to have that kind of heaviness in their heart, and I'm sorry that you guys are going through that. I really do, because it's hard. It's very hard. But I do have good news for you. You guys, I feel, are not the type to give up even when all of this is happening, because I see this 8 of Wands right here, and the 8 of Wands talks about, I like the imagery of this card from the Illuminated Tarot, because you see this bird is making her nest, but I think for you guys it's the bird is remaking her nest, and so I feel like this is you guys are gonna remake your life. I think you guys are gonna really try and restart. July, I think by mid-July you guys will start to pick yourselves back up again. And I definitely sense that, because again with the Sun card, the Sun card tells me that all of this energy that you're feeling right now, this low vibrational energy that you're feeling right now, is only temporary, and that it will end in the month of July. I definitely feel like all of this heaviness is going to end in the month of July. Will it be completely gone? Of course not. That's not how heartbreak and pain works in life. If only, then the world would be a much easier place to live in, but that's not how it works. So I feel like Spirit is saying with this Sun card is it's okay. Like, you're going to be okay, and you're going to rebuild. You're going to find the strength. Sorry, I just shook the camera. You're going to find the strength in July to rebuild your life. You're going to rebuild from the ground up. You're going to say no to all of this negative energy right here, this pile of complete chaos. And I feel like you guys are going to have an awakening. I like this card a lot. I feel like this is the epitome of what your July is going to be about, an awakening. You're going to wake up one day and you're going to be like, you know what, enough of this bullshit. I'm going to get up. I'm going to do what I have to do, even if I don't want to do it. And I'm going to grab life by the balls, and I'm going to restart my life. And I definitely get that with this Sun card. I almost like, this just caught my eye, like the sun in the Sun card is so radiant and big. And I like how in the Awakening card, there's like almost like a sun behind this woman, and it's just helping her radiate. So I definitely feel like you're going to be able to radiate all of this positive energy after you begin to rebuild. And I just, I bet you guys, I don't want to sound like you guys are just going to one day in the middle of July wake up and you're going to feel all better. But I can tell you from experience that you feel all of these things out, and eventually you get tired. You get tired of just sitting there and doing nothing. You get, your mind decides to start doing things, because when it's not doing anything, then there's nothing. Like, there's nothing for you to do. And so then the mind needs to exercise. And then the mind says, you know what, let's get up today. Let's do something. Let's be productive. And I feel like you guys are not ones to just stop being productive. I feel like you guys are not the type to be stopped, even in the face of heartbreak. And even though you're going to be going into July feeling down, having this tower energy, this chaos, this conflict, I definitely see you guys by the second week of July just having this awakening, having this epiphany moment of, I don't need to do this to myself. I am okay. I want to take a leap of faith in my life again. I want to love again. I don't want to be afraid to take leaps of faith in my life. And I want to do this. I want to start fresh. I'm getting the sense of start fresh. And, the Fool card, I think it's a perfect card for that, because it's the very first card in the tarot. It's the number 0. So I definitely feel like you guys are just going to be starting from scratch with your life. You're going to revamp your life completely in the month of July. Complete revamp. Get rid of everything old. Hell, you might even go as far as move states. I don't know. I'm just sensing this big, huge change, shift in you, a true awakening, something really big and something really radiant and beautiful and wonderful. And it's gonna bring so much abundance to your life. We have the Ten of Pentacles here. I love this card. It's gonna bring so much abundance into your life, like so many good things, so much success in your career, success in your relationships, success at home with your family, success in every single aspect of your life. You will feel it. This awakening is going to change your life. I feel like I'm definitely getting, like, it sounds dramatic, but like you guys are gonna have one of the like biggest like epiphanies like ever in your life. Like it's crazy. Like I that's what I'm getting. It's actually fascinating to me. Like this is like the biggest shift I've ever seen from one energy to the other. So I feel like it's just going to be a very dramatic July for you, but in the best way possible. And we have this Queen of Pentacles here, which I think represents you. I love the Queen of Pentacles. The Queen of Pentacles is somebody who's very nurturing, somebody who's very, again, abundant, somebody who is secure. And so I feel like this is the energy that you are going to adopt by the end of July. I feel like you guys are going to become this Queen of Pentacles. You're going to be wiser after all of this. You're going to be able to sit down on your throne. You're going to sit back. You're going to be like, oh, yes, like I made it. I made it out of all of this negative, low vibrational energy. I made it out of the chaos and the conflict. I made it out of feeling overwhelmed. I made it out of this tower energy. I got out of this toxic cycle of not being able to move on. And you're going to be able to sit back in all of the things that you've manifested into your life without even knowing it. All these new things, all these new, wonderful, radiant things. And you're going to be thankful, and you're gonna just be a more nurturing, happy, loving person. And I feel like you guys are already like that, of course, but I feel like you're gonna become even more of that kind of person. You're gonna become just like I don't know how to describe it, like just like this sense of enlightenment. There's something about this sense of enlightenment and having all of this abundance, and you have something to show for all that you've gone through, is what the Queen of Pentacles is telling me. You're going to be able to show people that you can get through those kinds of things. And the end of July is just going to be a really satisfying moment for you to sit back and just like be proud of yourself and be thankful and grateful and nurture all of the new things that you've been able to bring into your life because of this new awakening, and being willing to take a leap of faith into the new and the unknown, and being willing to restart and revamp your life. Okay, thank you so much to pile number 2. This was an amazing reading. I can't wait to see what July brings my pile 2 friends. Please leave a comment down below if this resonates with you, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much. Okay, to everybody who picked pile number 3 for your July predictions, this message is for you. So I'm going to try and get everything into frame right away. Okay. But we do have a lot of cards because I wanted to give a very detailed reading for everybody. Imagine, truth, imagine, interesting. The World card, okay, very nice. I'm liking it so far. Excuse me. Oh, interesting. Okay. Sorry, guys. So I know everything is like not completely in frame and things are overlapping, but I'm going to take a look at these energies here really quickly. I'm noticing right away that there are 2 aces. We have the Ace of Wands, or the Ace of Clubs, and then we have the Ace of Swords. And I feel like there's just like a lot of like newness coming your way in July. Definitely there's a lot of communication, there's a lot of new creativity. It's very interesting. I feel like this is very much like I feel like for the people who picked pile number 3, you guys are have very creative minds. Let's see. And then we have, it's interesting, I actually realized that this is actually talking about strength. This Ace of Clubs is about strength. And it's interesting because we have the Strength card here as well, and we have the Lion. So lions might mean something to you. You also might be a Leo, just maybe, long shot, but possibly. That'd be cool if you are. But there's definitely this sense of strength. I'm definitely sensing like this like aggressiveness about all of this now. Like there's definitely some kind of like aggressiveness and this like this going forth with energy and exuberance and with purpose. I'm sensing a lot of purpose. Like I think in July there's going to be a sense of stability. I'm sensing a lot of stability in July for you guys. I feel like you guys have already kind of leading up to July, you guys have been again, I feel like manifesting all of these things. I feel like you guys have been manifesting this strength. You've been manifesting this sense of stability, this sense of feeling like you have everything that you need. And it makes sense because for our overall energy from the Good Tarot, we have the World card. And so I feel like the World card, we're talking that, again, you feel like you have the world ahead of you. I feel like July is just going to be a very stable month for you, is what I'm getting from my pile number 3 people. I feel like July is just going to like bring you incredible opportunity. We have the Ace of Swords. We have which talks about new beginnings. For me, as I've explained many times in some of my other videos, and I think I mentioned this in pile number 1, for me, the Swords as a suit talks about communication. So I feel like you're going to be meeting new people, meeting lots of new people, and there's something very bold about you, like, and it doesn't surprise me that this Ace of Swords has showed up, because again, like, I'm just getting this like strong sense of like you very much have a presence because of this strength that you've manifested. I don't feel like this strength was always really present. I feel like you guys have recently very much come into your own. The Strength card talks about taming the beast within or taming the beast, but I definitely feel like this is about taming the beast within, taming what it is about yourself that you feel needs to be tamed. What is it that you need to improve on as a person? What is it that is going to allow you to feel like you have the world at your fingertips, that allows these opportunities to come towards you? Because I feel like these opportunities are just going to come naturally towards you because of this energy that you're putting out. I always like to say that whatever energy you put out into the universe, you will receive back. So if you put out negative energy, you will receive negative energy back. But if you try and stay positive as you can, I know it's not possible to stay positive all the time. That can be a little dangerous. But if you make the conscious effort to put out a more positive vibration, to raise your vibrations, to better yourself, then the universe will respond in a good way. And I feel like that's what this Strength card is about. I feel like you guys are going to be in this state of just exuding this great strength, like this great assurance of yourself, of being able to tame yourself when you know that you like, for example, maybe in the past you've been bad at admitting when you were wrong. Well, I feel like now that isn't the case. I feel like now you know how to handle that situation. You've definitely reached a sense of maturity, is what I'm gathering, is the message that I'm getting. And that's really offered up a lot. This is going to offer up a lot for you in July. I feel like July is just going to be filled with opportunity, with creativity. I feel like you guys are already very creative people. You're going to be meeting new people again with the Ace of Swords. I feel like it's interesting too, because then we have the Knight of Swords, and I feel like this is also very much you, and it definitely connects with this Strength card. With this Strength card here, we have this this energy, this very high vibrational energy, but there's also this aggressiveness, this just like undeniable assurance of oneself. And I feel like this is definitely you. Like you guys are just very sure of what it is that you want, what it is that you're looking for in your life. And I feel like July is again just going to be this very stable month. We have the Queen of Wands here. The Queen of Wands, for me, is the most intimidating of the queens, because she's so practical. She's a very practical woman. I feel like she's very practical, knows her shit, has her shit together. She just looks very sure of herself, and she's seated, that's not a word. She's seated on her throne very comfortably. She has her little companion here. She's just very sure, and she's also, there's something very graceful about her too. Like, she has her little sunflower here. So there's something very graceful and beautiful about her, but it's very subtle. But it's mainly because she's so present. Like, there's just like a presence. And so I feel like that's the energy that we have in July for you here, pile number 3. Like, this, you are going to have a presence. You're going to have a strong presence. And I feel like that strong presence, that assurance of yourself that you've reached, is going to bring great things for you in July. I just feel July, again, I know I've said it, and I keep shaking the camera, I apologize. I know I've said it a couple of times already, but I feel like July is just going to be a very stable month for you. It may not be incredibly eventful, but it'll be stable. It'll probably be one of the most stable time periods of your life. I just, like, I've never seen so much just, there's just like this rawness to this reading. Like, there's just like all these raw emotions, raw vibrations, and there's just like also this like creativity about this. There's this creativity aspect to this. We have the Imagine card, so I feel like Spirit is encouraging you in this time period of stability to just let yourself be creative. Let yourself go a little bit. Like, get creative. You're in a stable position in your life. You're feeling sure of yourself. I feel like you kind of went through, I think, what was it? Pile number 1, pile number 2, the one I just did. They are going to be going through an awakening in July. Well, I feel like that may have been either what happened in June for you guys, or what happened maybe even as early as May or April. But I feel like you guys have, in the recent past, probably gone through something life-changing, some kind of spiritual awakening, some kind of epiphany that you had about your life, your situation, yourself, your personality, anything, some kind of epiphany. And I think now Spirit is saying, use this month of July to really get creative. Really dig deep. And July, I think, is a great time to do this, because July is, of course, Cancer season, for like up until the 22nd, and Cancers, of course, are known to be the people who are very emotional, very in tune with their emotions, and everybody feels this during Cancer season. Of course, Cancers feel it to another degree. Oh my god, I just shook the camera so hard, I'm so sorry. Yeah, Cancers feel it to another degree, so I'm a Cancer, and my birthday is coming up in about a week, so I'm going to be feeling a lot of things. But it's also a great time to get creative. It's a great time to write. It's a great time to paint. It's a great time to draw. It's a great time to explore, and also, I'm going to say daydream. I'm personally a daydreamer, and I feel like Spirit is really encouraging you to expand your imagination. Really dig deep, and you will be surprised at what it is that you can uncover about yourself still, even though you feel very sure of yourself and you have this very high vibrational energy and very energetic and practical and all these very stable states of being. But I feel like Spirit is asking you to dig even deeper into that. Like, dig deeper is what is the message that I'm getting right now, is dig deeper into yourself, because there's something inside of you in this stability that's just waiting to erupt, is what I'm getting. And I feel like it's interesting, because then, the World card is like, you have this whole world inside of you that you just need to let out. And it's interesting, because then we have this, Jack of Spades. And so I feel like it's interesting, like, when I look at this card, I see somebody trying to shield their own cards, and so I feel like there may be a part of you that's holding back a little bit, a part of you that's holding back, like you're hiding behind this practicality almost, like you're hiding behind the fact that, you have all of this strength and there's this aggressiveness about you and you go for what you want, but I feel like it's almost a little bit of a facade, because there's something more emotional about all this. There's like an emotional backstory to how you got to where you are now. And I feel like Spirit is saying explore that in this month of July. Explore it. It makes sense that Spirit will want you to do this now because, again, this is Cancer season. This is all about emotions. This is all about feeling your emotions out, feeling everything, putting it out there, letting it go, and restarting for Leo season. So I feel like Spirit is definitely encouraging you to get creative, get vulnerable is what I'm getting. I'm definitely getting get vulnerable. Because I feel like right now, you're not really allowing yourself to be vulnerable. I see practicality. I see strength, which is not bad. But I think strength in the sense that you're putting on this mask of just being, you're constantly doing things, you're communicating with a lot of people, you have all these opportunities and you have all of these things, but you're not taking a moment to step back and be like, you know what, like, let me just take a step back and do something for me. Let me sit with myself. Feel all the emotions I don't usually let myself feel on a daily basis. And let me use those emotions and create something beautiful. Let me do something creative with what I'm feeling deep down that maybe I don't show everybody else. And it's interesting because I feel like this is going to provide a sense of balance. I feel like this also talks about, again, I think this is also talking about the stability aspect of where you are currently going into July. Excuse me. That was weird. I kind of got something stuck in my throat. That's awkward. But yeah, I feel like July, again, like I said, might be a little uneventful in terms of what's happening around you because everything is going to feel balanced and everything's going to feel at peace. But I feel like there's also a sense of balance that needs to be made within yourself. So I feel like there's justice around you, there's balance around you, and with the loved ones in your relationships, but I feel like there's justice that needs to be served within yourself. And by what I mean by that is that you need to, again, be able to sit with yourself, to be able to let yourself wander a little bit. I feel like you've been slightly rigid because you're so overcome with joy that you're in this stable place in your life, and you're not taking a second to really enjoy it because you're trying to just do everything at once. And so I feel like that's why Spirit is saying you should just take a step back, get creative, feel out your emotions during this time, and it's the perfect time to do it. And I feel like you're going to discover a lot more about yourself than you think because we have the truth card here. And so I feel like there's going to be a lot of truths about yourself that you're going to uncover. And I feel like, again, I know I said that you guys probably already went through some kind of epiphany in the recent past, in the recent months, but I feel like there's something still that is missing. And I feel like that truth is going to definitely come to light in July. By the end of July, I feel like there will be true balance in every single aspect of your life, including your internally. There's going to be balance. Internally, you're going to feel content, feel like you really know yourself, understand how you react when there is stability in your life. Because I get the sense that when there's stability in your life, you don't sit back and enjoy it. There's something about you that has to get rambunctious and not go ahead and ruin it, but like start to mess with it. And so I feel like Spirit is saying, just sit with yourself. If you sit with yourself and you let yourself indulge in this creativity and you let yourself imagine, because I think that you guys are naturally people who have very creative minds, and you guys may even tend to be daydreamers. Maybe you guys are Pisces as your sun sign, or you have Pisces in your chart. But I feel like Spirit is encouraging you to use those gifts of imagining and creativity and using it to your advantage to find this truth about yourself. And so I feel like overall I'm just getting the sense like you're in a good place right now, yes, but you can be even better is what I'm saying. I sound like an ad for something, but I feel like that's definitely the message that I'm getting from my pile 3 friends for my July predictions. Thank you so much for my pile 3 people. I hope that resonates with you. Please leave a comment down below if it did. And I hope to see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much.